Is Zack Spuckler. I run a small Facebook and Instagram ads agency, and then I have an education arm of my business where I help new and early phase entrepreneurs, and even some mid and later phase entrepreneurs learn how to manage and run their own ads. And I've been doing this particular business for about 10 years.
What made you to say I'm gonna be running ads and I'm not just gonna do it for myself, but I'm gonna do it for other people? Yeah.
I like the idea of having that time and financial freedom. And so I was running a different business. We were selling digital products. Basically, people started saying like, well, how are you doing this? How are you doing this? How are you doing this? And we started taking on a few clients and things just kind of exploded and evolved from there.
What's your driving force? Because like right now they might not be still asking that, so why did you really jump into this like full time and start helping people?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, what drove me then was this idea of like having the space in my life, having white space, having creative and personal freedom. And what really drives me these days is travel is a big one for me. I love to travel.
The power of being authentic and yourself online. Why is that really important?
I think the big thing that people don't realize is like, I think that there's two types of authenticity. Yeah. And I always joke and say there's like manufactured authenticity. And we've seen it, when someone has recorded a reel of themselves like crying over something and you're watching it back and you're like, I would never think to pick up the camera in the middle of like an emotional breakdown and record it.
If you are somebody like me, you know that each and every day you need a little dose, if not a pill of inspiration. And for that reason, I would like to invite you to comment, like, share, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because each and every time I'm going to be bringing you some amazing stories from individuals like you and me who are going to share with us their stories, their skills and experience, and we will learn and draw some inspiration from that and move forward. And remember, this podcast and this show is called Inspired to Inspire. Hey there, and thank you so much for joining me again on another episode of Inspired to Inspire. Well, let me tell you a story. So some time back, that was actually last year, I had just moved to the US, and most of my network, most of my database was still South African based. And I was like, oh my goodness, how can I really expand here? I had no idea how to do that, because I tried to approach people and it was not so good. I might be sounding a little bit spammy or whatever. Like, I couldn't just say it. And then one day I went on Facebook and posted something. I was like, guys, how do you really run ads? Or who is your go-to when it comes to it? And then somebody tagged somebody, okay? And when that person was tagged, I was like, okay, who is this guy? And then I went through the point, like, and then all of a sudden, I saw that he was actually running a boot camp that week. And then I was like, oh, boot camp. Then I was shocked to see that that boot camp was like $10. I was like, okay, let me just go and dive into this and see what's happening. Then let me tell you one thing. My business has never been the same ever since. So I was like, okay, how about I bring this guy to you guys, so that you can also get to learn what I learn, and you can also get to implement what I'm implementing. Guys, please help me welcome my mentor, Zack. Zack, how are you, bro?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. What a kind intro. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm so excited, man. You just have no idea. I think you still remember it was soon after the first bootcamp that I ever attended, and then I upgraded to one of your membership. And then that was like a week or two. I DM'd you like, dude, what have you done? You just changed everything for me. And I don't know if you really understood that, or you're like, oh, who is this guy? He's a little bit freaky. I don't know.
No, I love it. It's so fun to see what you've been doing, and I'm really excited to share some of what I picked up along the way with your incredible audience.
Oh man, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And thank you so much for creating time to see me because I know that this is going to actually help other people out there. Somebody who is still a Munya of 2023, who might be at a position where they still see that maybe they are no longer relevant to their current list, or maybe they're still sending emails and nothing is happening. They don't have opening rates, or literally they're actually stuck. But before we dive deep into this, I wanted to ask you, who is Zack?
Yeah. So my name is Zack Spuckler. I run a small Facebook and Instagram ads agency, and then I have an education arm of my business where I help new and early phase entrepreneurs, and even some mid and later phase entrepreneurs learn how to manage and run their own ads. And I've been doing this particular business for about 10 years now. I've been running Facebook ads for over 10 years. We help people hands-on. We help people with education. And yeah, I mean, it's just been such a journey and honor to be able to support people at all different stages of business, really get incredible results with their ads.
Lovely. But man, 10 years ago, that's in 2014, right?
Yeah.
Internet
Yeah.
was still starting.
We started our current company in 2015, but I had been running ads for about 2 years before that. So just over 10 years.
Lovely. So 2014, if I'm to remember, where was I in terms of online? Okay, I'm not gonna say it, but it is still like something like very, very fun because I still remember 2014, I think I had just completed my school, man, and you were already doing online ads. And by that time, well, in Africa, Facebook was not as popular as it is. And I don't really think that we really knew what it was all about. And you were
Yeah.
already running ads there. So, man, guys, as you can see, we are talking with somebody who might be the guru here. So talk to me. I'm very intrigued about that. What made you to say, okay, I'm gonna be running ads, and I'm not just gonna do it for myself, but I'm gonna do it for other people. This is 2014. We are talking about here.
Yeah. So even before 2014, I'd always been fascinated with the idea of like making money on the internet, right? Like
Yeah.
I like the idea of having that time and financial freedom. And so I was running a different business. We were selling digital products and not even in the online marketing space. And, we were getting like a couple hundred people on our webinars and, running Facebook ads for my own company, which was like a, food type industry, food and wellness blog. I don't even do anything in that space anymore. But basically people started saying like, well, how are you doing this? How are you doing this? How are you doing this? And we started taking on a few clients and things just kind of exploded and evolved from there.
Lovely. You actually remind me of a Munya of 2017, 2018, because back then I was now also online, and I was still in network marketing back then, but I really hated going out and meet people in the street or whatever. So I started learning how to actually get people online through Facebook groups, WhatsApp, and everything. And I really become successful doing that. And people were asking me now, Munya, how are you doing this? How are you doing that? And that's how I also got to start my training company. So there's something great about doing what you do and do it so well, and actually start answering those questions from that you are going to be asked by people every day. But then that's a good why though. But why really did you actually start to do this? Because just doing it for the sake of, okay, well, people are asking me, how are you doing that? And what? Well, it might be enough, but what's your driving force? Because like right now, they might not be still asking that, so why did you really jump into this like full time and start helping people?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think the biggest thing is I always jokingly tell people like, I was working at a part-time job as an undergraduate assistant. And I ended up taking the day off one day. I was like, I'm just going to take the day off. And it was like a Wednesday or a Thursday. And I was walking one of my dogs in the park. And I just remember kind of thinking like, man, this is so great. Like, it's just a Wednesday, 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I'm not responsible to anyone or anything for this moment. And I really wanted to like have more of that in my life. And so, what drove me then was this idea of like having the space in my life, having white space, having creative and personal freedom. And what really drives me these days is travel is a big one for me. I love to travel. This year I've been to, I went on a cruise to the Bahamas. I've been to Arizona. I was just in London. I'll be going to Bali in a couple of weeks. Then I'll be spending a couple of weeks in Australia. I just love to get out and see the world. And I think that for me, that is right now at this phase of my life, like that is the motivating factor. And there's also an element of like, I do love what I do. I like helping people. It's fun seeing people win. And, a lot of people you had mentioned earlier, like I hear very regularly from people like, well, you should be charging more. You need to increase your rates or you need to do this. And it's like, yeah, maybe. And maybe I would make more money if my stuff cost more, but I like what I do. I like the people I work with. I like being accessible to the market that I'm targeting. And I love teaching and supporting people.
Yeah. I mean, because I was also going to ask you like, dude, are you okay? Like, how are you charging $10 for five good days, okay? For $10 and deliver so much, man. Why are your stuff so affordable? Well, I didn't want to use the word cheap. I'm just using affordable. Why is it so much affordable yet you are giving so much, dude? I learned a lot out of that. You just have no idea how much you have changed my business. Why is that?
Yeah, I love this question. So we did, just to be totally candid, we just increased the price of our boot camp to $25. So now it's like really expensive, right? But part of the reason that I do it is because number one, I know my market, and my market is like my core market is early phase entrepreneurs who are afraid to spend money on ads, afraid to invest in themselves. And so number one, you'll notice that when you look at my pages, I don't really make these, we may share case studies and testimonials, but my content is not like make $10,000 in 5 days. And, it's like we, as a company and both myself, like, internally kind of said, like, what do we actually want to do? Like, what is the goal here? Who are we trying to help? And we said, like, we want to help people who can't run their own ads yet. And when we got really honest about who that market is, like they're not spending $2,000 on a course. And if they are, a lot of times, just from the research we've done, they're like, number one, they're on a payment plan. And number two, they're putting like all their eggs in this basket. And a lot of times I talk to people who are like, oh, I bought this thing for, $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000 and it has to work, right? And point blank, people who message us and say like, this has to work, we're like, don't join, right? And it's not that we don't want to help. It's not that we don't want to support, but we are not looking to grow our business, me personally, on the back of charging people tons of money for this information that then like burns them out financially. So do I have high ticket programs? Absolutely. Like if you want to consult with me one-on-one, it's a multiple 4-figure investment. If you want to hire my agency for a launch, we're talking, $3,000-$4,000 for a 6 to 8 week period. So I put that in there not to be like, oh my gosh, this guy's just trying to get me into the agency. We actually cap out at 10 clients in our agency. We don't even work with more than 10 people at a time. That's a personal choice that I made because I like being high touch, whether it's my membership or my agency. But I'm not afraid to charge high ticket price. Like I'm not like I've worked with clients before. I've charged $10,000. I'm not afraid to do that. But when I look at this market and this mission and this message, that price feels very aligned for me. And I know the economics of my offer. So one thing that I always tell people is like, these numbers might feel arbitrary, but we run them through like forecasting and spreadsheets and like conversion calculations. Like I'm not just randomly like, maybe when I started, I just chose $10 to see how things went. But once I
Yeah.
have data, I'm basing my decisions on the data. So I know at $25, my sales page is going to convert 5 to 7% because of that price point.
Yeah.
It's going to get me more people in, and we're going to offer a membership on the back end. I'm not trying to make money $25 at a time. I'm trying to build quality relationships with incredible information
Yeah.
so that people want to join the membership and stick around for, 6, 12. I have somebody who just renewed their 36th month in the membership,
Mm.
and they're at an introductory rate of when we first launched, because they joined when we launched the very first time for
Yeah.
30 or I'm sorry, $40 a month for 36 months. And just, I'm just crunching the numbers on that. That person has paid over $1,400, and I've been able to support them for 3 years, and we've been able
Wow.
to make great revenue doing it. And we don't have to charge crazy prices. But
Yeah.
because we build such a quality relationship, especially in that 5 days,
Yeah.
we respond to every comment, we hire help, we put out really great information, we actually teach you something instead of like stringing you along with low quality information and then trying to get you to pay us thousands of dollars to stick around. People do stick around, and they end up spending thousands of dollars. And so we're looking at the economics and the value of not just the offer, but also the relationships we build from it.
Wow. And with today's world, right? Where everything is just exaggerated, where everything is all about money, where if you like most of the ads that are there online right now, they are like, look, I just made this $15,000. Look, I just bought my car. Look, I'm like, okay, okay. I see you, but I'm not hearing you. So
Yeah.
one thing that I just wanted to tell is that the very first time that I attended your boot camp, well, I could hear you and see you, and I relate more to somebody who is authentic, because I'm also authentic. I talk with that. What you see is what you get. If you don't like
Yeah.
this, I'm so sorry. Go and find whatever you want to find somewhere else. Because if you don't like this is what you are going to actually stuck with for the next of I don't know how long. So what you see is what you get. I don't come wearing this and then tomorrow I come dressed like this something. And that is you. That is you as well. And I love that. I still remember like the very first time I was like, okay, this guy is saying, well, I love Taylor Swift. Well, I love Hairless Cats. I'm like, okay, you know what? Now I love Taylor Swift. Well, I'm starting to love Hairless Cats. I'm like,
Love to see it.
yeah, something else. Yes. So let's talk about something here. The power of being authentic and yourself online. Why is that really important? Should I go and be like, oh my goodness, so I saw Zack just published this thing, so I need to also go and duplicate that very same thing and do it his way? Why is it important to remain you online? Yeah.
I think the big thing that people don't realize is like, I think that there's two types of authenticity.
Yeah.
And I always joke and say there's like manufactured authenticity, and we've seen it, it's like, it's not a judgment. I know some people do it and there's different reasons, but like when someone has recorded a reel of themselves like crying over something and you're watching it back and you're like, I would never think to pick up the camera in the middle of like an emotional breakdown and record it. And so that's kind of like, I'm trying to be relatable.
Yeah.
And the thing that I think people really get tripped up on is like, well, I want to be authentic. I want to be relatable. And so they share things or they do things or they say things that might be authentic to who they are, but they're not really authentic to like the experience of you, right? My authenticity that people get really like geeked up about, I guess, because this is like, if I can dote on myself a little, like people do say that like, you're the same person on a coaching call that you are in a boot camp, that you are in the membership. Like it's not, you're not getting different versions of me. And I think the reason that is that I'm just sharing who I am. I'm just sharing the way that it feels good to me. And when I don't know if you were in the last boot camp, but we did Taylor Swift came out with a new album. For those who don't like Taylor Swift, I'm so sorry. That's unfortunate for you. But she came out with something called the Tortured Poets Department. And we did a whole giveaway themed around this album called the Tortured Advertisers Department. And like we made like mock-ups of the album cover and we gave away like themed prizes. And it's like, when you're trying to be authentic, that stuff wouldn't feel natural. Like it would feel unnatural to like, because it's like, well, what does that have to do with advertising?
Yeah.
Nothing. And there's people in my audience who don't like Taylor Swift. Like I have people
Yeah.
who message me who are like, oh, I'm not really a Swiftie, but I love your stuff anyway, because what people really love is people who are
Yeah.
unashamed to just be themselves. Like,
That's
you know, it's kind of cut off, but you can see right up here, this is a custom order. I'm trying to point to it. There it is. This is a custom order Trixie Mattel doll, who is like this super famous drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race. And I had to custom order this. I had to wait a year for it, pre-order it, pay on follow-up. And people are like, well, what does that have to do with marketing? Like nothing, but that gives you a look into who I am. Like I'm somebody who gets geeked up over the little things. I love Taylor Swift. I watch RuPaul. I'm, you know, when I go on vacation, like I'm not going to take a million pictures on the beaches and be like, look how much money I made from the beach. And if I am doing that, there's context, right? Like I can't sit here and be like, oh, I've never sent an email. Like we literally sent an email today that was like, here's how much money I made while I was on this particular vacation, right? And here's the context of how it worked, why it worked, the legwork went into making that happen. We did a podcast episode once that was like, I'm taking 11 days off because I did a destination wedding and we kind of clumped our honeymoon into that. And I didn't want to work every day for 11 days. But guess what? It took 3 months of prepping myself, my team, my process, my students, my programs to be able to disappear and go enjoy the Dominican Republic for 11 days, right? And so I don't think there's anything wrong with sharing the highs, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with posting a picture of you on the beach or with the bag or, you know, near the plane, but it's 24/7. Look at how great my life is. Don't you wish you had that? I do think people tune out. And I think when you try too hard to be relatable, people tune out. But when you just share the stuff that you think is funny and exciting and relatable, that's where people connect. It's last thing I'll say, then I'll be quiet. But we are running a Facebook ad right now. I have a hairless cat. She's usually running all over the place. Artemis, but we took this photo when she was a kitten of her just sitting up on my shoulder, like right here. And one of my friends, I'm good friends with another advertising guy, and he's like, oh man, like these photos of nothing are doing so good. If you have any random photos on your phone, like try it as an ad. And one of our best performing Facebook ads for our Facebook and Instagram ads bootcamp is literally this picture, no context, no words on it, of just my cat on my shoulder. And it's she is a hairless cat, very wrinkly, very interesting vibe. So it's definitely a pattern interrupt, but it's like, my hair's not done. Like I think it's on a Saturday that I woke up, like my hair's not brushed. It's just who I am. And like you had messaged before we hopped on this, you're like, oh, I'm wearing my suit. And I was like, well, I'm wearing my t-shirt. You know, I'm not somebody who's going to be like, oh, well, if he's wearing a suit, I better like run and find something to put on. I'm like, I'm still going to show up in my t-shirt. That's just who I am. And that's okay. And some people will be like, dude, this guy showed up to the interview in a t-shirt in his office with like the subpar lighting. And it's like, yeah, I did. And if that is totally a turnoff to you, great, because I'm going to do calls like this. I'm going to show up in my membership with my subpar background. Like that's going to happen. And when there's continuity of experience, there's authenticity.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, because again, if you don't like what you are seeing, and well, go and find it somewhere, because if you like it something, let me tell you one thing. There's almost 8 billion people on this planet Earth. And I always say this to my students, that there is not somebody for everybody, but there is somebody for somebody. So if I'm not relating to you, well, go to somebody, because you know what? You're going to waste money, you're going to waste time trying to listen to me, but you are not going to hear me. And yeah, you may see me talking, but you're not gonna hear me, man. That is so cool. And also, thanks for talking about your current ads, because oh my goodness, you have been stalking me. I was like, what have I done wrong this time? This guy. Everywhere I go, he's there 3 or 4 or 5 times. And then, but I started now to start some of your ad sets. I was like, this is good. Like, he's just here. There's no words on the picture. I'm seeing your cat. This dude, he's not doing anything. Okay, this is cool. I am relating to that. That was like, oh my goodness, this is really good. This is really good. And guess what? I quickly went and changed. I was actually, there's one of my client who is in the UK, who is planning his live summit end of this year. And I went to him and dude, can you send me some random pictures or can actually send me some videos or whatever, like anything that you have, I'm gonna, he's like, he's saying what? I'm like, whatever you are saying there, I just need it raw as it is, because I'll use it. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so good. This is so good. So yeah, thanks for that. So let's now kind of like dive a little bit into this. Who must be running ads right now? Who must be running ads right now?
Yeah. I'm a huge believer that anyone with a digital business should be at least spending a couple $100s a month on ads. You don't need to spend thousands, you don't need to spend millions, but it's really beneficial to run ads regardless of what your goal is, because it's all about visibility. And I think you just made such a great point. You're like, I'm seeing this guy everywhere. It's like, that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
And people trust people that they see and connect with consistently, right? And so for me, I'm a wildly inconsistent person in my personal and professional life, but ads are always running for me. Like, I send out an email every week. That's pretty much the only thing I'm consistent at. Everything else is fueled by advertising. And so the thing is, like, a lot of people are like, well, you need to be consistent, or you need to show up, or you need to post on Facebook. And my thought is always like, yeah, but I don't want to do that. Right. And I don't mean it in a it's not possible way, but like when you rely on motivation or internal motivation, or that like push that like, well, I have to be consistent, so I will, you will inevitably miss a day. You will inevitably have something happen. You will get sick. Like I was fighting the flu yesterday and I was like, I just didn't send out an email, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, this sucks. But guess what? My ads still brought people into our bootcamp. My ads still grew our email list. You don't have to rely on your own internal intrinsic consistency.
Yeah.
Other thing is that's really nice is you don't have to worry about the algorithm. So the thing is, like, I post on Instagram, I don't get a lot of reach. I post on Facebook, I don't get a lot of reach. But if I run an ad, I'm guaranteed to get reach. And the thing about growing a business is you can only sell to the people who see you. And so if you're not being seen, you're not able to sell. And if you're not able to sell, you don't get paid. And if you don't get paid, you're not going to be in business very long. So I'm a huge believer that if you have a service or product that you can serve to multiple areas in the sense of like digital or location independent, you should be running ads. I also think local businesses should be running ads. It's just a whole nother conversation. I work with some local businesses, but if you have the ability to speak to a national or global audience, there's no reason not to push your content out with advertising.
Wow. So where do I start? Well, you might not dive deep into it because I know it's going to take us 5 days to do that. So where can I start? I really want to do this. Like, how can I just start to do something?
Yeah, great question. So I tell people the easiest place to start is, number one, don't use the boost button. That is Facebook's way to like get money from you. Don't use the boost button. The second thing I tell people is figure out what your goal is.
Yeah.
For us, the primary goal of most of our market is to generate leads. And most of us are in a market where we need to get leads, right? And so the type of ad that we like to run is called a lead form Facebook ad. And essentially what happens is people click on the ad, it pops up a little form inside of Facebook. They put their name, email. You can actually ask for a lot more information. If you have a more targeted business, you can ask like, what is your budget? What is your phone number? What is your Instagram handle? There's some really cool stuff you can do with it. And then you can use software or Facebook itself to communicate with the people that are coming through that process. Yeah. And I am a huge advocate of using that to grow your email list because like perfect example, our email list, I want to say it's around 18,500 give or take. But like we're doing our bootcamp right now. So every day I just log in and I send an email that says, hey, come join the bootcamp. And every day people click on that email and guess what they do? They pay the $25, they join the bootcamp, and a percentage of them will become monthly recurring revenue customers inside of our membership. So I always tell people, don't do the easy thing, which is to hit that boost button. Learn some of the foundational skills. And I know you mentioned it a couple of times, we have our bootcamp for sure.
Yeah.
If you don't want to take the bootcamp, you don't want to spend the $25, that's totally fine. Still learn it. Go to YouTube, look up Facebook lead ad tutorial, if nothing else. I think there's some nuances and I think I'm pretty good at teaching it, but don't jump in blind. So the last thing that I will tell people is you pay for your Facebook ads either education, either in money or time. So
Yeah.
it's going to cost you to figure out how Facebook ads work. You have two options. You can invest your time and sometimes some resources financially into like learning from someone, whether that's me, whether that's YouTube, whether that's a big course, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or you can poke around, spend money, try and figure out what you're doing and kind of like just kind of be in the dark a little bit. That's not a good move. No matter what you do before you go into the ads manager, study up a little bit. How does a Facebook ad work? And I know this sounds silly, but I tell people all the time, the two biggest schools in the world are free, Google and YouTube University. Go type it in. You're on Facebook ads and you're like, I don't know what this means. Google it, go to Facebook. The most successful people I work with are willing to look dumb and are willing to Google the answers. And I know that sounds really tongue in cheek, but it's very true. The people I see do the best, they're willing to say, I don't know if this will work, but I'm gonna figure it out.
Wow. I know this is I really don't know how this is gonna work, but I have to figure it out. Thank you for that as well. So one more thing that I just wanted to ask you is that what are some of the mistakes that are like somebody who is starting is mostly likely to actually make, or what are some of the challenges they are mostly likely to face as they start?
Yeah, great question. So what I tell people is the big mistakes that you can expect to run into are, number one, bad copy and creative. And that's not to say that you need to have like beautiful design skills or good copy, but I see a lot of people that don't follow a structure with their copy and their ads. You need to have a flow that people are following. You need to tell them, you need to grab their attention. You need to tell them why they should trust you. You need to tell them what they're signing up for, and you need to call to action, tell them to click. Those at minimum need to be in your ads. The other thing that I see people run into is they are over explainers. So let me over explain that. They create images that have a ton of text on them.
Yeah.
Which is not inherently a bad thing. But remember that when people look at a photo, they are not looking at it going, oh, this is, all of the information is here, let me read it. What they're actually doing is they're going through and they're skimming and they're seeing if it grabs their attention, right? So I tell people, if you create an image that is like more than 10 to 15 words, you're overdoing it. Because the other thing to keep in mind is it's going to be on a mobile device a mass majority of the time.
Yeah.
And so people are not reading your images. The other thing is they're not reading your copy completely. They're skimming. So you want to make sure that you use words that connect with them, things that stand out. You want to use emojis, but don't be emoji happy. You don't need an emoji in every sentence. That makes it look like ChatGPT wrote it. But you want to like stand out. And then the last big mistake that I see people make is they don't test enough. So a lot of people, like, they set up their first ads, they maybe spend $50 to $100 and they go, it didn't work, so ads don't work for me.
Yeah.
That's incorrect, is my observation. Ads take time and testing. We are doing a boot camp, and keep in mind, we spend higher levels of money on our Facebook ads than like someone who's just foraying in advertising. And that's not good or bad. It's just, an observation. But like, we ran an ad last week that we spent about $1,000 on. We didn't make $0, but after $1,000, we were like, I don't think this is working. Like, this is not what we want. We're not happy with the results, but we spent $1,000 on testing. But the other thing that I will tell you, and I'm actually pulling up my ads to look right now. So I was a little off. We actually spent about $2,400 on them. And we, on that $2,400, just to give you like a very specific number, we made $400. So we basically lost, quote unquote, $2,000 in testing. And every ad that we've run since then has been markedly more successful, because running that ad gave us tons of data about what is working, what's not working, what structure is working, what do we need to test, what do we need to change. So don't run your ads. I'm not saying you need to spend $2,000 to figure out what works. We were in a very accelerated period with a very particular product, new strategies we were trying. But if you have spent a couple $100 and you're like, this must not be working for me, I would say test and have patience, because for most people, it does not work the best it's ever going to work the first time you do it. You don't learn to speak French, go to France, and have these intense conversations with people on day one. That's not how it works, right? So give yourself grace, give yourself
Yeah.
space, and give yourself time to see what works.
Wow. Thank you. I know that that was really, really mouthful. So don't click the boost button. I always tell people as well, like, don't even touch that button. You know, it's like, well, it's a trap. Yeah, it's a trap for you to lose money. Yeah. So, well, it's like I have a lot that I really need to ask you, but I know that we are very much pressed on our time. So I know that you have a very important and a very great gift that you always give people. What is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn more about our holistic Facebook ad strategy, we have a $15 a day Facebook ads guide. And it basically is a structure on how we set up ads for our clients and ourselves for evergreen process to generate leads, generate engagement, and generate sales of our programs. So it's called the $15 a day Facebook ad strategy for evergreen products. You can head over to heartsoulhustle.com/ads15 for ads 15. And you can download it. It's about a 20-page guide. It walks you through everything that we do with our ads for, like I said, continuous growth of our email list, engaging the people who grow our list, that we grow our list with, and then marketing them your paid products.
Lovely. Thank you so much. So just to recap this, right? Everybody needs to run ads, regardless of who you are. Or like, what is your business status? Like, how big is it? You need to run ads. But as you are running those ads, you need to test a lot. You need to test, don't give up. And because like, so sometimes you might learn, you might actually pay the school fees in testing, or sometimes you might just go there to school and graduate on the very same day. You know, you might do that. Yeah, you might go and just hit that button and oh my goodness, things just happen for you. That is also good for you. And also ads, sometimes they may be expensive or they may be very cheap. So don't compare these things. It all differs as per what are you launching, what are you doing, what is the nature of your copy, and all these other things. And also don't be too texty. So I'm just recapping everything that he actually said. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And yes, if you miss out the link, you can click in the description, check in the description. There is the link there. And also a QR code is literally popping on your screen right now. So I want you to also click that QR code, like scan it, okay, and download it, because there is a lot that you actually gonna get out of his training. Most of my clients right now, they see me as the guru, and guess what? I am getting all the information from this guy right here. Well, so I just exposed myself. Please don't go to him. Okay, don't go. It's too good. Yeah. Well, so most of the things that I actually do right now, I just get all of them from Zack, because I go in his membership, I study, I come back, I implement, I look like this Mr. Guru. Well, there you go. You now know my sources. Okay. So all thanks to you, Zack. I don't know, Zack. Do you have anything that you might just want to share, like some parting words? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing I will offer up is ads are a new language, a new skill. It takes time to learn that and develop that. And so give yourself space, patience, and grace. There we go. To learn. You know, you are learning a new skill. Don't expect that the first time you go in there, you're going to make tens of millions of dollars. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. But most people are not willing to learn the skill. And if you're one of the ones who are willing to learn that skill, it will pay you out tenfold in so many different ways. So.
Wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate you creating time for you to come and actually meet me here. Thank you so much. And you, please click on that link and download it. It is free, like completely free. 20 pages. Oh my goodness, that is so great. Thank you so much, Zack. Hope to see you again soon. I'm gonna bring you here after you guys, you who is watching, after you have commented, say more about this. Maybe we might actually bring him again in terms. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye, everyone.